kuliko ile bei wanashukisha nayo mafuta. Because now I have seen that fuel has now come down by 11 cents for diesel. 11 cents means 0.11 shillings. And for petrol I have seen it 0.8. If I look, the peak of fuel in Kenya, the peak globally, was in around, for the last several months, was in June, around 23rd, globally. Per barrel it was around $73. Now we are talking about $63. That is a decrease by 14% in global oil prices. Why is global oil prices decreasing by 14%? And in Kenya it is decreasing by 11 cents. You know, I talked about this earlier, and I talked about a new levy that was introduced last year. And I saw all ministers come to defend it. Now please come also defend this cents. Because this issue of fuel prices is not an easy topic. It is very important. Because our factories run on fuel. Our economy runs on fuel. When we keep on increasing the cost of fuel, at any point we get an opportunity, and we do not in commensurate manner lower when the global oil prices are going low, we are basically handing over Kenya to our neighbors. And we are basically handing over manufacturing to our neighbors. We are basically saying we are inefficient in all the facets of the economy that use fuel. Let us be forthright, and we make sure, with the same haste that the government raises fuel prices when fuel prices goes up globally, it should be the same haste fuel prices come down. And we keep on knowing, the more levies we increase, the more cost we put on in terms of fuel, immediately, the more we make our economy inefficient, and we hand over our opportunities to other countries who are neighboring. I thank you very much. May God bless you.
Right, let's give a good round of applause to Ndindi. I want to invite any media or anyone in the plenary who has a question for him to ask it from here, because he will not be available for another side session. So any person from the media? All right. Okay. That's one. Yep. Any other? Right, you can come on in.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jimmy Mboko from Citizen TV. A quick question for Mheshimiwa, which is very simple. You served as the budget chair, and the question that I want to know is why the sudden clarity? Why is it that suddenly you were very clear on issues that you sat in a position that you could have addressed these issues? Thank you.
Anyone? Good morning, everyone. I am Brian Jojotino from Nation Media Group, just across the street over here. My question to Honorable Nyoro is, you have come out, not necessarily perhaps in this forum, but previously to speak against the debt appetite that the government has, especially in the domestic market, and we understand that it's crowding out the private sector in its quest to access affordable credit. I mean, if you're a banker and you're getting an assured sum of, say, 16%, for example, for an infrastructure bond that is not necessarily taxable, then you would rather lend to the government, who is assured data, for example, compared to you and I, who run a very high risk. And you know the politics around risk-based lending in this city. But now the question I'm asking is, we have a budget to fund 4.2 trillion, and there's a deficit. You don't want us to borrow. We need social services, of course. but there is also the need for, we're also trying to avoid austerity measures. What is your proposal of financing this deficit, this budget deficit, about, I think about 100 billion or so? Thank you.
Any question? Okay. Last one.
Habari za asubuhi. Naitwa Nyoro kutoka idhaa ya radio. Mheshimiwa, tunaelewa kwamba kuna swala ambalo sasa hivi linaendelea na Kenya Pipeline Company, ambapo tunazungumzia kuna baadhi ya wale ambao wanataka kununua kampuni hii kwa manufaa yao wenyewe. Labda ndio uje pia utueleze mbeleni kwamba haya yamelipuka. Labda unaweza waeleza wa Kenya what's happening there, because tunaelewa kwamba utajiri ambao uko pale ni wa shilingi bilioni 500, lakini kuna tetesi kwamba yule ambaye anataka kununua ni shilingi bilioni 100. Waeleze wa Kenya.
Asante.
I'll answer this, but in case I don't answer sufficiently, I'm not in a hurry. We can do a rejoinder. Jimmy Pogo, thank you very much, because I get asked that question many times. Why are you speaking now? You've been somewhere there and there, and I am grateful you've given me that opportunity. One, let me talk about securitization first. The issue of securitization came on board in the year 2023. The first time it came anywhere in our meetings. And I want to make it very clear so that we have clarity on this issue. That meeting had all the decision makers around the finances of our country, including the CS National Treasury there, and including the PS who is still there now. And I want to confirm to Kenyans, in the meeting I was, we all declined this issue of securitization, because it was common knowledge to all of us that any money you borrow through securitization is a debt, and therefore cannot be treated separately as anything different. And therefore, I think that suffices. I was there, we could not. Secondly, I would request that we all check the reports that came out of the Parliamentary Budget Office in the last 3 years. And you check our stand on debt. And you check our stand on the things I'm talking about. And you'll see consistency in what we stand for. And even beyond me, even my seniors then, every time they could speak, no one was speaking in terms of borrowing. Everyone was speaking in terms of lowering our appetite for debt. But when it comes to action, there is something different. The last thing, when you are serving in a capacity that I was serving before, just as you serve in any other capacity around government, because as you understand, when in the positions of departmental committees and other committees like the one I was, you work very closely with the National Treasury and the government of that time. There is something called, I would call it collective responsibility. And this is what works politically. In politics, you leave your seniors to talk about all the good things. Because even me as an MP, my CDF chairman leaves me to say all the good things about the work you are doing. And then, do I need to explain further? I think you've got it. So, I want you to check all those, because many times I see people saying, hey, kwani wanaongea sahi? It's because of those reasons. Basically, collective responsibility then permitted, you have to let, you are not the head of government. You are just some chairman somewhere there. So, we had to do that time. And I'm glad, and I'm sure Pogo, you are glad, that I've been there and I'm now here. Because at least now I can talk to you freely without having any issue of collective responsibility. And I am glad for this opportunity also, because it helps me to also inform Kenyans in an area I have been and I know, and I don't think it can get better than that. That it is the chef who is telling you about the menu and about the recipe. Bwana Otieno from Nation, I agree with you entirely. The government comes to the market, they borrow. This year they will likely borrow close to $1 trillion in the domestic market.